Hey, Chris Liepe here. I've been asked the following question quite a bit lately. Why do I get a headache when I practice screaming or singing with tons of compression? Well, I've found through lots of self-examination and trial and error that there are two reasons. One of them more of a main reason than the other. And this headache problem is really indicative of a bigger issue when we're singing, and that is body awareness. Being aware of what every muscle in our body is doing while we're singing. Do we have to think about all our muscles all the time while we're singing? No, but we do need to develop a consciousness for making sure that we're not bringing in areas of our body that we don't need to be bringing in, that actually end up competing with what we're trying to do with our voice. And I call this developing body awareness. I'm not the first person to use that term or tie it into singing, but in my course, Discover Your Voice, I spent an entire week helping you develop body awareness, helping you to identify tension in areas of your body that you think might be working with you, but are actually working against you when you go to sing. If you'd like to join that course, you can click the link below and request an invitation. Please subscribe to the channel and turn those notifications on so that you keep hearing about all the new cool videos I put out. And make sure in the comments you suggest other things that you'd like me to do on the channel. Okay, so I said there were two reasons. The first is one of those kind of global reasons, and that is make sure that you're getting enough water. I know that probably everybody says drink more water whenever there's a problem with how you're feeling. But when we don't drink enough water and we're exerting ourselves with aggressive singing, it's one of those things that really creeps up on me. I always have one or two of these in the studio while I'm singing, and I go through them like crazy, especially when I'm recording a full song or practicing really hard. It's one of those things that I can be having my voice in order and having everything else working well, and then about halfway through a session, I start to realize, man, I have a headache. It usually shows, dehydration for me when I'm singing shows up as a headache. And this other reason that I'm going to talk about in a minute also factors in. But it's interesting. It starts with a little bit of lethargy. Oh man, I was doing so well and now I'm not doing as well. What's going on? And depending on what I'm singing, if my throat's feeling good, I don't necessarily feel the need to drink water. And so I don't. And then the lethargy kicks in, and then there's this low-level headache that comes in. So be sure that you're drinking enough water. And here's the big one. Back of neck tension. When we are screaming, "Yeah!" When we're doing that, we are tempted to bring in all sorts of things that don't need to be there to create that sound. And right there, when I was doing that, yeah! I am trying to stay fairly loose. But there's one key area, the back of the neck, that really comes into play. When I tense, and it's these side muscles, if you want to feel how to engage those muscles so you know exactly what's going on and you know what not to tense, do this. It's the same muscles that we use when we're leaning back or picking ourselves up off our back. So if we lean back, feel it in your neck. Certainly the front of your neck is tensed, but there's these back of neck muscles that are coming into play. You can feel it when you lean back. Also, you can feel it when you lean forward. All of us with our cell phones doing this, you can feel that tension or that pressure on the back of your neck here. So these are muscles that we have trained ourselves to engage all the time, right? Like this, slouching at a computer, leaning back and slouching, whatever it is, or getting up. Those muscles are obviously useful, but when we bring those into the fold when we're singing and we leave them tensed over long periods of time, it screws with our circulation and eventually ends up with a headache. At least it does for me, and I know it does for lots of other people. So let's do a test. We're going to start with compression. Compression, and we're just going to sing a note that's highly compressed. We're going to visualize these back of neck muscles. You know, if I'm doing this, I can engage them, and then if I stand up straight, you can flex them, right? You can't see me doing it, but unflexed, flexed, unflexed, flexed. There's this sense of tension that I'm already harboring. When I add my compression, I want to be a bobblehead. And then I want to add that same compression, and I want to intentionally tense these muscles. Do it both ways. Do it with a bobblehead. Now, again, we're engaging our support the exact same way, and we're getting the same sound. But the difference is the first way, we are doing it like this, and we're consciously making sure that the back of our neck is not unnecessarily flexed. It shouldn't be flexed at all. You don't need it to do compression at all. But even there, when I said the word need, when I kicked in the compression, I could feel myself being tempted to flex these muscles back here, to tense them. So we want to vacillate between being completely loose and doing the same thing, bobblehead, 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 and then tensing, bobblehead, 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 so that we feel the difference. Then, when we're in the middle of singing aggressively or screaming, we want to think about that. Is the back of my neck tensed? Sometimes it won't show up until you have a headache. So we just have to develop a consciousness. We have to remind ourselves of those muscles and how they can get in the way and start burning us out. Next, we want to go to, a more aggressive sort of situation, a scream, and we want to do the same thing. I know for me, when I'm not thinking about it and I go into a scream, the first thing I do is put my head forward a little bit and take that kind of posture. Not cool. I mean, it's okay for a note here and there or for a scream here and there, but we want to make sure that we're identifying it. It's as simple as identifying it. Once you know what to identify, you know what to look out for, then you won't have this problem creep up on you. But it takes discipline and it takes awareness. Bobblehead. Same thing. Intentionally tense it. Either way, our support is dialed in. Either way, we're pushing the same amount here. So this doesn't need to happen at all, but it does anyway because we're pressuring ourselves to sound a certain way, to deliver a certain way, to do a certain thing. You can still get the same sound. You notice my sound quality doesn't change at all. The only thing that changes is my longevity and my endurance. For more on body awareness, how it impacts your singing, and how to sing completely free, tension-free, be sure to click that link below and request an invitation to my course. Again, be sure to subscribe to the channel, make more suggestions, turn those notifications on. We'll see you for more real soon.